trusted house buyers. Foreclosure is normally a long and heartbreaking process for homeowners. We're going to specifically discuss the California process today and then take a look at just some of the options that you have to stop foreclosure in San Diego. We'll also be walking around the San Diego courthouse here in El Cajon to get a peek as to how the foreclosure sales actually take place, if we can find any. First, I have to point out one very, very important thing. I am not an attorney and I am not giving any legal advice. You might want to do a search online for foreclosure attorney near me or foreclosure law firm. Now, that's out of the way, let's get to business. So here we are in El Cajon in San Diego's courthouse, and we'll chat about ways to avoid foreclosure in California as we get closer to the auction. See if there's a little action a little later on. You might already know a little bit about California foreclosure law. For instance, California is a non-judicial state. This basically gives the trustee the authority to sell the home, to pay off the loan if the borrower doesn't make any payments. So up until the auction is sold, the house is sold at the auction, you can actually rescue your home by selling it and paying the lender everything you owe, including back payments and penalties. What you need to do first is get to know your timeline and your deadlines before the foreclosure process begins. The lender or loan servicer may send you a bunch of letters over the course of months demanding late payments. Those letters are not a notice of default. The lender must contact you to assess your financial situation and explore some options to avoid the foreclosure. It's basically called a foreclosure avoidance assessment, and they cannot start the foreclosure process until at least 30 days after contacting you to make this assessment. They must advise you during that first contact that you have the right to request another meeting about how to stop foreclosure in San Diego. Now, once the actual foreclosure process begins, it has to follow a very specific set of timed events. Initially, you'll get a notice of default. This is the start of the foreclosure process. Keep in mind, it has to be at least 30 days after contacting you for that foreclosure avoidance assessment. If you do not pay what you owe, next will be the notice of the trustee sale, which sets the auction date. This can be recorded 3 months after the notice of default, and the initial auction date can be just 20 days after that notice of trustee sale is recorded, so it's very fast. These timelines are extremely important because if they're not followed to a T, you might have a case for a wrongful foreclosure. So we're coming up to the foreclosure auction here in a bit. A lot of people have already left, I saw, but let's check out some of the action, but keep our distance and keep it brief. So here's actually where the auctions happen, believe it or not. We're at the El Cajon courthouse, but we'll try and keep our distance if the proxy comes out.
516 Hilltop Drive, Chula Vista, 314 due to bankruptcy, 6520 Springfield Street, Spring Valley, 319 BK, 5090 Ovid Place, San Diego, 319 BK, 127 Winter Street, Oceanside, 319 BK, 854 Union del Sol, Chula Vista, cancel, 3923.
At an auction, the few things can happen. A possible foreclosure postponement in California. The house will be sold to the bank or sold to a third party, and the foreclosure, of course, could be canceled as well. The lender will usually bid at the auction in the amount of the balance due plus the foreclosure costs. In the case of another successful bidder other than the lender, they have to really pay the full amount of the bid immediately with cash or a cashier's check. And in order to get the house, a trustee will transfer the property. The new owners usually serve a 3-day quit, a written notice for you to move out, and that's when it can get a little messy. If you do not move out within those 3 days, they'll normally go through the formal eviction process in court to get possession of the home. So those are a lot of the technical aspects. Now that they're out on the table, let's
discuss how can you really stop foreclosure in San Diego. You want to avoid the mess of having the house go to auction and getting that 3-day, that dreaded 3-day notice to quit.
Option one is going to be talk to your lender early. Time is your enemy anytime you miss a mortgage payment. So don't be embarrassed. This happens all the time. Inaction just cause more harm. Lots of unforeseen circumstances happen in life, but it's not a problem that's just going to go away on its own. Discuss some options with your lender like forbearance, a loan modification, short sales. Get it all out on the table. Additionally, there are other sources of assistance. The San Diego Housing Opportunities Collaborative and Hope for Homeowners is a good one. These two provide counseling, and they'll also partner with mortgage companies and local governments to reduce foreclosures, so they could be of help. You can also get a list of housing counselors approved by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development on its website. Other helpful sites are, I think it's Save Your Home California. Actually, it's technically it's called Keep Your Home California, but check out that website as well.
Option 2 to stop foreclosure in San Diego, well, that's bankruptcy. When a homeowner files for bankruptcy protection, it puts an automatic stay on all debt collection actions, including foreclosure. It simply delays the sale of the property until the homeowner resolves the debt, or in many cases, the lender gets approval from the bankruptcy court to continue with the sale. In Chapter 13 bankruptcy, during this automatic stay, you basically have an opportunity to reorganize your debt into a 3 to 5 year repayment plan. This assumes they even qualify for the Chapter 13 relief. So it's not a total discharge of debt. And of course, there are some major downsides. During that entire time, the debtor is obligated to commit all of their disposable income to the payment plan. Every penny after expenses must go towards paying back the unsecured creditors. This is a big commitment that lasts quite a while. And bankruptcy, of course, will probably ruin your credit for years to come, and it may also negatively impact your opportunities for employment. Bankruptcy on your record will just make it nearly impossible to get a mortgage, obviously. So don't go at that alone. Certainly speak with a qualified expert.
Option number 3 to stop foreclosure in San Diego when you have equity is to consider selling your house to stop the foreclosure sale. In most cases, you have up to 5 days before the foreclosure sale to cure the default and stop the process, essentially. It may not be your first choice, but if you're not able to stop the public foreclosure auction any other way, it's a choice you should consider instead of losing the home to foreclosure. By selling what is considered pre-foreclosure, you'll be able to keep the foreclosure off of your credit history and maybe even walk away with some money to show for your equity. If the auction date is getting very close, you need to find a cash buyer who can close with cash and very quickly. That will essentially pay the entire loan in full.
The final option is to offer a deed in lieu of foreclosure. This means you basically transfer ownership of your property to the foreclosing lender in order to stop the foreclosure proceedings. It's really a last resort to stop foreclosure in San Diego. In all of these scenarios, I definitely want to mention there are foreclosure scams that target people whose home mortgages are in trouble. They may promise to take care of your problems or to obtain refinancing for you. Sometimes they ask you to stop making your mortgage payments or to make the payments to them. This is not advisable. Please proceed with care in dealing with any individual or company claiming to be of help in this tough situation. Do your due diligence, please.
So those are some of the things I wanted to throw out to you if you need to help avoid foreclosure in California. If you have gone through your options and you do want to consider selling your house fast and easy, and even as is, give us a call. We'll see if we can be of help in your particular situation and talk to you about how our process typically works. We are very experienced in these foreclosure matters, and we can probably point you in the right direction. There's never any obligation to hear what we can do, and there's certainly no obligation to get an offer from us. If it's something that works for you to stop the foreclosure in San Diego, great. It can be a very stressful situation, so we'd like to try and help and be a source of relief if we can. We are a local family-run company in San Marcos, North County, San Diego, and a trusted house buyers. We hope we can be of help. If we can't, we'll be quick to let you know that as well. Call our company today, 619-786-0973. My name is Brian. Certainly don't hesitate to ask for me directly. And thanks for watching. Good luck and take care.